All right, breaking news. Donald Trump is backtracking on multiple of his tariff policies after U.S. consumers are signaling more and more pessimism about the state of the U.S. economy. Now, this is uniquely important because we've gone multiple months without key economic indicators. The Trump administration has refused to release unemployment numbers since August of 2025, job opening numbers since June of 2025, so for a few months, and then payroll growth and job growth we haven't gotten since August. So many businesses, the Fed, multiple sectors of the economy have been literally flying blind. They have no way to steer themselves, which already indicated that the current administration is not too happy with the state of the economy, or else they just release the monthly numbers that help guide all businesses. But now, with these new updates, with Donald Trump just reversing his tariff policies and not really making an announcement about it, it shows that he understands the state of the economy at least a little bit more. At least a little bit more after Republicans got smacked on November 4th in the special elections. Trump understands that he can't just gaslight about the U.S. economy, but trust me, they are still trying. Trump accounts on Twitter, like MAGA accounts, posted, "The Trump administration has signed an executive order that eliminates tariffs on steaks. This is huge," as if it's some sort of groundbreaking policy. Joshua points out, they're actually celebrating Trump reversing decisions he made as some sort of visionary policy decision. Insane. So Trump places tariffs on essentially every single country, every single product with no discretion. There's no like surgical tariffs placed to get leverage. It's just, nope, we're just going to shit on every country, place tariffs across the board, except for Russia and except for North Korea. Then when we begin to feel economic pain, not even 6 months into the tariffs, I think some of these were placed like 4 or 5 months ago, Trump lifts the tariffs, and then MAGA accounts are saying, what a huge policy development. Trump is lifting the tariffs, making things cheaper. Dude, Trump placed the tariffs. This is all so annoying. Then Nick Sortor, another pro-MAGA account, says, breaking, President Trump has signed an executive order eliminating tariffs on beef, coffee, and tropical fruits. This is an effort to bring down food prices in America as voters voice concerns about affordability. If Donald Trump started shitting and urinating all over the Oval Office, Republicans would clap and say that he has a visionary way of thinking about plumbing in the White House. And then if he left it there for a month, they would continue to clap. And then when people start to clean it up because everybody's getting sick and saying, what the hell, man, they would also say, see, Donald Trump knows how to prevent sickness, how to clean stuff up, how to make sure, I don't know, it's disgusting. You get what I mean. But at the end of the day, how are you going to cheer when Donald Trump places tariffs on every country with no discretion? And then how are you going to cheer as those tariffs raise prices and gaslight the American people? Then how are you going to clap even harder when he removes his own tariffs? It reminds me of this post from Caroline Levitt a few days ago. She said, prices are steadying and wages are climbing. New DoorDash report shows. Oh, wow. We don't have our own economic data to cite because, again, the unemployment numbers haven't come out in 4 months. Job opening numbers have been stymied by the Trump administration. They are not releasing numbers. It's gone dark. And then payroll growth and job growth has also not been seen for months. The usual frequency for these are monthly. We get monthly releases to at least guide businesses, guide the Fed. But now we are like spinning down the drain. We're spinning down the drain rapidly because we don't have the numbers. So Caroline Levitt cites DoorDash reports, and she gets fact-checked by Elon Musk's Twitter. Misleading. The report actually shows rising food prices, the very report she's citing. The average price of a cheeseburger, a soda, and a fries increased 3.8% year over year in September, while typical restaurant meals rose 3.2%, which about tracks inflation. That about tracks it. This echoes the latest August USDA food cost data, 2.9% more overall, 2.7% at home, and 3.9% in restaurants. This is why Donald Trump had to scrap his tariffs on beef, scrap his tariffs on coffee and tropical fruit in a push to lower prices right before the holidays. He's trying to combat high consumer prices that are caused by his own policies. Trump has built his second term around imposing steep levies on goods imported into the U.S. Let me remind you, the Trump administration also said that U.S. consumers don't pay the tariffs, so they're obviously lying there. And about 2 weeks ago, Caroline Levitt was saying the Biden administration is causing these high prices, but now they're conceding it was them.
From Argentina. how will the Trump administration support those farmers?
Look, the president hears those concerns. He addressed them yesterday himself. President loves our ranchers, and our ranchers love our president. And in fact, the president did a lot for them in his first term here. They are struggling because of the many horrible policies of the previous administration. President loves our ranchers, and he also loves American consumers, and he wants to do right by both.
Did you hear when she blamed it on the previous administration? Donald Trump's policies have nuked local economies in the state of Iowa, for example, where I have friends. Iowa is in an early recession. You can look this up. The economy of the state of Iowa is in a recession. Other farming states or other states that rely on certain goods are really struggling due to Trump's tariffs, but she blames it on the prior administration. I mean, if you blamed it on the prior administration, why did Donald Trump immediately scrap tariffs when you guys lost an election? To continue, let's hear Harry Enton break down consumer sentiment right now.
The worst ever view of current conditions dating all the way back since 1951. This is record-breaking in the way you don't want to be breaking records. And get this, Kate, it is down 30%. Consumer sentiment of current conditions down 30%.
That's bad.
From January when Donald Trump took office. We're dealing with a super majority here. We're talking about more than 3 in 5 Americans, 61%, who say that Trump's policies have worsened economic conditions in America. How about worsened your own finances? Again, we're dealing with a majority here. This is double trouble for the President of the United States. Disapprove of Trump on the economy among pure independents. We're talking about 4 in 5. It averages out to a net approval rating on the economy among pure independents of, get this, minus 58 points. Oy vey. If these numbers hold a year from now, the Republicans can wave adios amigos goodbye to their House majority, and they may very well be bidding adios amigos goodbye to their Senate majority as well.
Donald Trump realizes he messed up. That's why they're reversing course. And listen, a lot of times my critique of the Democratic Party in campaign and on social media is they're too risk averse. They need to take more risks. They need to get out there and they need to sell their ideas more. But there are certain topics or certain sectors where you don't actually want to take crazy risks on. For example, the economy. Economists will generally be right. Economists are 90% right when there is a consensus agreement among them saying, for example, tariffs are going to hurt the economy. Tariffs are going to hurt the consumer. People are not going to appreciate the tariffs because it hurts them directly. Who cares if you're raising a tiny bit of revenue if it's coming out of your pocket? That's just a tax. It's legitimately just a tax, as the Supreme Court is deciding right now. But the point that I'm trying to make is you can be risk averse when it comes to the economy and not want to take risks. You actually want to have a safe landing while also taking risks on the campaign trail or doing more fun podcasts or appearances. So this is a sector where Donald Trump shouldn't have taken the biggest risk ever by just placing tariffs like an effing idiot. Legitimately, he viewed it as negotiation. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to bully all these countries. No, dude, you're just making a fool of us on the global stage, increasing costs for Americans. And Donald Trump views every single problem is something that can be solved with a tariff. It's like that phrase, when all you have is a hammer, you'll see everything as a nail. Donald Trump only has a tariff, so he's just swinging that around, hitting every country. And then he's posting on social media, literally in a deranged mental spiral. He's posting about NBC Seth Meyers. He's posting about Marjorie, quote unquote, Trader Greene. I'm withdrawing my support of quote-unquote Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. This dude is legitimately backed into a corner, and rather than focusing on the economy, he's just backtracking, backpedaling, scared of his own policies, while trying to stop the release of the Epstein files, while also stopping the release of economic data. This administration has a serious transparency problem, and we will stay on their ass every single day. Drop a like, double check to make sure you're subscribed to the Adam Mockler feed. I love you all, and peace out.